Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to a Power Rangers deck building game unboxing. This is for the RPM Get in Gear expansion. So this does require one of the two base sets, either the Mighty Morphins base set or the Zeo Rangers base set, to add into it. But it adds the RPM Rangers, which is really fun. I haven't ever watched this series. I don't know really anything about them. So actually getting to kind of go through this is very fun for me because it's like, hey, it's experiencing a new set of Rangers. Even though they aren't, like, they're not really, they're in, like, the middle area. So we're going to go over the base set, plus we'll also look at the bonus pack. It was bonus pack 2 for the second set here. And we'll check that out as well. Alright, so what is RPM? RPM is based off of speed and racing. So they have kind of an interesting, they have a animal vehicle hybrid combo in there. Again, I don't know a lot about the characters, but we're going to get some interesting new stuff. So of course, we're going to have our main deck cards, our 5 oversized villains, our 5 oversized rangers, signature cards for each character, Zord cards, Master cards, Megazord card. It says a double-sided. I actually got 2 separate ones. I don't know if that's a misprint or if they're going to do it. I prefer myself to get 2 separate cards rather than a double-sided card. We're going to get new Nitro Blasters and RPM tokens. RPM is the brand new thing. So we'll go ahead and kind of look over that. So you get these RPM tokens, or little wheels, or 1s and 5s. Double-sided. It's the new mechanic in here. So I'm going to skip to that before I look over the other things. So RPM are keywords found on most hero cards, but both heroes and villains can use RPM they acquire. When you generate RPM, take a token, value 1 to 5. So how they work, and I'm not going to go through every single little part of this, but we'll kind of get the gist of it. Each player has their own stock of RPM tokens. It's not shared like energy. They represent revving up fighting spirit of the Ranger operators and give your opponents plenty to consider. When you attack, you must announce how much RPM you have. If your attack is negated, in addition to any other block effects, your foe takes damage equal to your RPM. You must discard your RPM. If it is not negated, you discard your RPM without any effect. So this is what's really interesting about this, is it's not an optional effect. If you choose to attack, you play a card that says attack. For example, if I play Zip Charger, here it says attack, says deal 1 damage for each different card you have played this card. So that could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who knows how many different cards I played this turn. And then you have to announce how many different RPM you have. So a good example is if I played this and it was going to do 6 damage and I had 1 RPM. Now, what it does is now if my opponent blocks this attack, they don't take that 6 damage, but they take 1 RPM. Now, if we looked at the other direction, if this was only going to deal 1 damage, I played it, but I had 6 RPM sitting around, if they blocked it, they would not take the 1 damage, they take the 6 RPM. So therefore, they might end up wanting to just take the 1 damage, and then my 6 RPM are wasted. So if you have a big difference between the two, it's going to debate whether your opponent's going to want to do it or not. But some of the attacks might do something else if you do it or not. So it's kind of an interesting gimmick. So you have to decide whether they want to block your attack, which if it has any secondary effects or anything like that, that might happen. And then take your RPM damage regardless, or if they want to just take your attack, and then you have to discard all your RPM. Then you have to start building it back up. You discard your RPM after every attack, whether your attack deals damage or has some other effect. This includes attacks you generate from the layer, Zord, Zorbe, Megazords as well. It's its own source and does not count as an attack. Cards are discarded for dealing certain damage, even remaining if RPM damage is dealt. As the source of RPM damage is your character and not that card. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. So yeah, it's like you can even like hear the stating down there in the bottom. So if you have just 1 RPM, you perform a 6 attack, your foes will be fine taking the 1 RPM instead of taking damage, so they'll block it. If not, then they might not. So that's kind of cool. There's also a couple other new things in here. We have stealing energy, so there's going to be various villain cards, but heroes might have them too that let you steal energy. Yeah, just fun. You take energy from other things. Very simple. And the attach keyword uses the attachment keyword, which means this card's text is active, will attach to your character. There's no cost to activate these cards, but the text will tell you when to apply their effects. Typically trigger an effect at the start of your turn. So that's going to be like the blue operator. So let me see if I can find him as one they showed as an example. So it says attachment. When you gain RPM, you also gain that much energy. So while this is attached to your character, that's when you trigger. Otherwise, it doesn't normally do anything. If you just play it, it doesn't do anything. It only plays while it's attached. And there's activated abilities update. When card changes zones in your hand, it forgets everything that happened to it prior to the change. Therefore, if you activate a card like a block and immediately redraw it, you may activate it again the same turn. So basically, as long as you can keep doing stuff. And then damage dealt from the grid. Deal damage to a hero villain is taken out at the same time, not individually by card. Count the whole number and deal it all at once. And there's, of course, some specific card clarifications. I'm not going to go over that. So the other thing we want to do before we actually hop into it is just how do you set this up? So the other expansion out is Omega Rangers. Omega Rangers has 2 of each set of cards. And what you do is you just replace them with some of the other cards. So if you have like a 2/2, you take out 1 set of the 2 cards and you put 1 set from the Omega Rangers. So you're keeping the same number of physical cards throughout the entire set, and you're keeping 2 of each card. This one, instead, what you do for RPM is you take out 1 of every duplicate card and you add in 1 of each of these. So there's only 1 of each card in this deck instead of duplicates, but then you're just mixing them in. So you'll have half like Mighty Morphin Rangers, half RPM, or half Zeo Rangers, or half RPM. Unless you want to start then getting really fun and mixing and matching all 4 sets together. So that way you can go ahead and just keep stuff. But it says here, just make sure you keep the cards about 80. And what they want you to do is try and keep roughly the same numbers. So if you have 4 cards that are level 2, you could have 1 from each set. From Mighty Morphin, Zeo, RPM, and Omega. Now when a 5th set eventually comes out, which I believe is in Space is the next one, you can go ahead and add some of those and then switch around so you can have mix and match, pick who you like to do. Another thing is the new starter basic cards, the Nitro Blasters, which we'll look at. We're going to only use Nitro Blasters, replacing the Blade and Zeo Blasters, and the oversized characters found in RPM. So, just recommend if you're going to use this expansion, use the starters that work with this because they grant RPM, and use the characters from the set because they work well with the RPM. Then later on, you can mix and match. Like 1 player could play a Zeo Ranger, 1 player could play an RPM Ranger, or vice versa. You can mix around some of that stuff. Yeah, so it's definitely cool. Alright, so let's just hop in here and look at these cards. So we're going to look at the Nitro Blaster first, and we're going to get, a pile of those. So what does the Nitro Blaster do? Cost 2 to buy, grants 2 energy there. Basic, choose 1, gain 1 RPM, or if you have 10 or fewer energy, destroy 1 starter card in your hand. So it's a great way to get rid of starting cards, but it also gets you that RPM. So it's a focused way to always get RPM no matter what. So if you want to keep cards. Now you can look at this saying, like, to get up to that 6, it's going to take a little bit of work. I'm not positive, I haven't remembered every card yet. But I don't think there's any card that generates a ton of RPM. Usually most of them generate 1, maybe 2 at a time. So you're not gonna like attack. Oh, I attacked with 6 RPM. They're gonna have to take. They're gonna have to they're not gonna want to block me, so they take that damage. And then you're gonna. It's not like then your next attack you're gonna have 6 again right away. It's gonna take a few turns to build these up. But at least there's one way to get it a little bit quicker. Alright, so then let's look at our character cards. Now there is only one of each of these, like I said before. So we have Colonel Truman. So he's a hero. So these are heroes. They have gain 1 location from the grid. If none, draw 1 card. And that's stealing energy on the bottom. Dr. K. Negate, block, negate, and attack. If this card was attacked, to put it into your hand. Otherwise, discard it. So that's kind of fun. Get it back, and it can heal on the bottom there. So you have operators, silver and gold. Discard all but 2 of your RPM at the end of your next attack after dealing full damage, whether RPM or not. So this is kind of a fun one to have, because that lets you keep some of that RPM around. So now again, like, you're not going to necessarily be playing with the RPM mechanic as much. You could choose to not use these. You could use the other 2 guys, they would work great. But you might choose to not use that. We have Operator Black. Deal 5 attack, deal 5 damage. If negated, you gain 1 stun. This is where that RPM can really be fun with an attack like this. Because if you attack for 5, and let's say you have 3 RPM, they have to decide, do I take the 5 damage, or do I block the 5 damage, negate it, get stunned, and then take 3 damage? So is 5 damage worse than 3 in a stun? So it's kind of an interesting thing. We have Operator Green. Attachment, gain the reward of the cards you battle in additional time. Operator Red. Deal 1 damage for every 2 cards in your discard pile. Operator Yellow. Play the top card of your deck, then attack. Deal damage equal to the cost of the played card. I like all these different artworks too. It's really fun. Attachment for Operator Blue. When you gain RPM, you also gain that much energy. So again, if you're not playing RPM, you might take him out. We have some villains. We have Fresno Bob. Gain 1 villain from the grid. If none, gain 1 from the main deck and main deck discard pile instead. And on the bottom here, we can gain RPM by defeating him. Grinders. Little foot soldiers. Block, negate, and attack. Steal 1 energy, then discard this card. The Vengeance Drone Bot. The villain is attack, steal 1 energy. If none, deal 2 damage instead. Lightning Bot. Attachment. When you battle, gain 2. Vacuum Bot. Attack. Target foe discards 1 attach maneuver. If none, deal 2 damage. Magnetron. Attack, deal. Target foe discards 1 attached equipment. If none, deal 2 damage. The Balloon Bot. Attachment. When you negate an attack, deal 1 damage. The Final Attack Bot. Attack, deal 2 damage, plus 2 damage if your foe has 10 or fewer HP. We have some equipment here. It's not spandex. Gain 1 hero from the grid. Cherished Keepsake. Put 1 card from the grid into the main deck discard pile. Then put 1 card from the main deck discard pile into the grid. The Vengeance Hardware. Attachment, you may battle villain and hero cards. It's kind of neat. Lets you actually fight either one, so you can gain rewards. That's actually a fun one to have. Engine Cell. Attachment, you pay 1 less to activate cards attached to your character. So this will be better, even better with later sets if they keep adding more attachment effects. The Go Longer. Block, negate, and attack. You may discard 2 RPM. If you don't, discard this card. Control device. Attack. Activate a ready attached card to target foe's character as if you controlled their character. Use the energy to pay for it, and then discard this card. That's crazy. And then we have Biofield. Attachment at the start of your turn, gain 3 energies. And then we have a Go-Longer Flute, Space Shuttle Flute. Deal 4 damage. If negated, deal RPM damage, but do not discard your RPM, then discard that card, the Cloud Hatchet. Alright, then we have some maneuvers here. We have Spin Move, attachment at the start of your turn, gain 1 RPM. It's definitely a powerful one. Reprogram, attack at the target foe discards 1 attached card with a cost of +5. If negated, discard this card. Energy Siphon. Attack, steal 3 energy. If negated, discard this card. A Moment's Rest. Attachment at the start of your turn, heal 1. Burst Attack. Attack, deal 2 damage to target foe. If negated, draw 1 card for each negation, and then discard this card. So I like these things where you just if the attack's negated, you gain extra abilities, which are really fun just in general. But then with that RPM mechanic, it makes it even more interesting. Block, negating attack, gain 2 RPM, then discard this card. It's teleportation. Overwhelming Force. Attachment. At the start of your turn, attack. Deal 1 damage for each card attached to your character. And Get in Gear. Hero. Gain the top Zord from the stack, then discard this card. Villain. Gain the top Master card from the stack, then discard this card. And then we have some sites or locations, which we always would have only had one of anyhow. We have the Garage. Ongoing, when you would play a hero, gain 1 RPM. When you battle a hero, steal 2 energy. Corneth, which is like the planet or like city that they're located in. When your team takes damage, you may discard 1 RPM to reduce the damage by 1. Dr. K's Lab. When you activate a non-attack ability, 1 energies. And the Vengeance Palace. When you play a villain, steal 1 energy. When you battle a villain, gain 2 RPM. Alright. So those are different all our different deck cards. Let's look at our Rangers here. So we have, let's start with our teenager side. We have Scott Truman, who has 2 heroes and 2 maneuvers. So he's our Red Ranger. At the start of your turn, you may discard 1 card, then draw 1 card. And then when he morphs, he becomes a Ranger Operator Series Red. Discard an attached card, then attack. Deal damage equal to the detached card's cost. If negated, draw 1 card. This is kind of fun. At least if something happens, if your card gets negated, you get that. So, couple of interesting little things I want to point out here that I love about this. So, first of all the Rangers have numbers on their chest, 1 through 5, showing what number they are. The numbers are also kind of themed with what their Zords are, the same as their helmets. So like, and you can't see these all great in every single picture. So like the box art here, so you can see like there's a 1, a 4, 3, 2, and 5. So then each one also corresponds kind of to what their animal is, as well as their helmets do, but then also on their helmets, which is really neat, because like the top part above the visor looks like their animal, but then they kind of like headlights for what the eyes are, which is really fun, because they mixed in the car elements, and then on the sides they have giant like hubcaps, or wheels, and they're different for each character. because they match what the wheels are on their things. Like the Black Ranger has like a cross spoke. Green Ranger has like a little pokey one. His has like all the little circles. So I thought that was a really neat aesthetic. And then also like the white part coming down, it connects into their thing. Besides adding the extra white lines in there, is it's like a seatbelt. So it's a really fun aesthetic for all these characters. Now, green and black also have gold bands on their arms and legs, because I'm guessing they're not part of the original 3. I'm guessing it was the original 3, and those are 2 like side ones that got added later. It's just something they really like to do in some of the later series. Alright, so let's look at our next Ranger. We have Flynn McAllister. At the start of your turn, if you have 3 or fewer RPM, gain 1 RPM. So he wants 2 equipment, a maneuver, and a hero. And he is our Ranger Operator Series Blue, number 2. Gain 2 RPM. And then we have Summer Lansdowne. When you play your 3rd different card type during your turn, draw a card. She wants 2 heroes, a maneuver, and an equipment. And we flip her. She becomes Ranger Operator Series Yellow. Attack, deal 1 damage for each different card type you control. So yeah, we have Blue Ranger wants to focus on getting RPM. Red Ranger wants to deal with the attachment mechanic. Yellow Ranger wants to play different cards. And then we have the side 2. We have Ziggy Grover. When you battle a card in the grid, you may shuffle it into the top 10 cards of the main deck. If you do, draw a card. It's kind of neat. So if you don't like it, you can basically beat a card, but get its reward over, but not keep it. And then we have Ranger Operator Series Green. Attack, deal 4 damage for each card you have battled this turn. So he wants to just try and battle as many cards as he can. But since his other mechanic does help him not have to necessarily gain them, that can kind of help out as well. And he wants 2 equipment and a hero and 2 heroes. And then finally we have Dylan. At the start of the game, put 2 stun cards in your discard pile, or 1 if you have no teammate in a 2v1. When you play a stun, gain 1 RPM and 1 energy. So he's got a little charger there, which is kind of neat. And then he flips over. Ranger Operator Series Black. He wants 2 heroes, a maneuver, and an equipment. And he has attack. Put up to two stuns in your discard pile at top of target foe's deck. If negated, draw a card. Yeah, so it's kind of tricky. He plays around with stun mechanics. I don't think there's a lot of extra things in here to give you stun. So it'll be interesting to see how that sort of works for him. Alright. Then let's look at their equipment, their special signature items. We have the Red Ranger's Street Saber. Attack, deal 2 damage, +1 for each card you have discarded this turn. And again, his ability lets him discard attached cards, so that works really well with that. Blue Ranger has the Turbo Cannon. Deal 1 damage for every 2 RPM you control, then lose 1 RPM for each damage you dealt this way. If this deals 4+ damage, discard this card. He wants to use RPM, so it works well. The Zip Charger. Attack, deal 1 damage for each different card type you have played this turn. The Green Ranger's Turbo Axe. Reduce the cost of battle cards in the grid this turn by 2. And the Black Ranger's Rocket Blaster. Gain 1 stun, then attack. Deal 3 damage to each for each stun you control and in your discard pile. So yeah, their signature weapons work really well with their Ranger cards, which definitely makes sense. Alright, then let's take a look at our baddies. And I don't even know what order to really look at these guys, so we'll just hop in there and look at them. We have Kilobyte. who wants 2 equipment, a villain, and his signature card or his master card at the bottom there, like they always do. Just scheming. When you destroy or battle a card, heal 1. And then we flip him over to his empowered side. Attack, deal 3 damage, plus 3 damage if there are no starter cards in your discard pile. So he wants to get rid of discards. We have Kenya 7, who wants 2 villains and maneuver. You may buy heroes. You may attach heroes to villain slots on your character. So that's actually really interesting, because then he can steal them away from heroes, plus she gets alternate abilities that other villains wouldn't get. And then she becomes Kenya 15. So you may attach heroes to villain slots in your character, attack, deal 3 damage. If negated, gain 1 hero from the main deck discard pile. Then we have General Crunch. The first time you make an attack that reads target foe during each of your turns, it cannot be negated. Ooh, so as long as it's not hitting everybody. And then his empowered side, attacks you make this turn that read target foe cannot be negated. So now you can, instead of being the first one, you can make it all of them. General Shifter. When you negate an attack, draw a card. He wants 2 maneuvers and a villain. He wants a villain, equipment, and a maneuver. And flip him over. He's got attack, deal 2 damage for each block attached to your character. So he's going to try and block stuff. And then we got the big baddie. We have the Vengeance Virus. 2 villains and an equipment. When you play a villain, steal an energy. And when we flip him over, he gets a completely new form. And he says, attack, deal 3 damage for each card with the bot in its name the villain control. If none of this is negated, if none or this is negated, draw 2 cards. Yeah, there was a lot of those cards named bot. So if we get back to them, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least 5 in this set, and then I'd have to go through and look at all the other sets to see if there was more in them. But yeah, you get all 5 of them, and this attack can do 15 damage. That's pretty crazy. Alright, so let's look at their weapons. We have Kilobyte's signature item, the Feather Sword. Deal 3 damage. If negated, you may destroy 1 card in your discard pile. Because you remember we want you to get rid of them starter cards, so that helps. For Kenya, we have Kenya's Visor. Attach a hero from your discard pile to an empty villain slot in your character, then attack. Deal damage equal to its cost. It also fills up her stuff. Crunch's Staff. Attack, target foe discards 1 random card, then takes damage equal to its energy or its shard value. Ooh, I hate random. Ugh. Shifter's Spear. Block, negating attack. The attacker gains a stun and then discards this card. And then finally we have the Vengeance Mainframe. Attack, steal 3 energy, so he's all about stealing energy. Alright, so that was those. So the last bunch of cards we have are going to be the Master cards and the Zords. So I'm going to go through the Master cards first. Which I probably could have just went through all these before I went through the regular decks, or the character cards, but we'll see what they all do. So we have Kilobyte. These are all going to be 7 cost. A little cheaper if your teammate controls their Master. Ongoing, at the start of your turn, reveal the top card of your deck, destroy it, or leave it. Kenya. Ongoing, at the start of your turn, deal 1 damage for every 6 HP your foe has. General Crunch. Ongoing, when you are targeting an attack, deal 1 damage to any villain when any villain takes RPM damage, reduce it by 1. That's definitely helpful. General shifters. Ongoing, when you negate an attack, the attacker gains a stun. So this would be kind of interesting to have him fight off against the Black Ranger, because he wants stuns. So it's like, aha. And then finally, Vengeance Virus. At the start of your turn, steal 2 energy. So these guys are always nasty. Then we have our Zords. So we have our red one. The Eagle Racer. So you can see like a bird. Goes with the Red Ranger. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards from your hand. Next up would be the Blue Ranger, who has the Lion Hauler. At the start of your turn, if you have 5 or fewer energy, exhaust this card. Ready this card, exhausting 2 RPM. The yellow is we have the Bear Crawler. Deal 1 damage for each different card type in your discard pile. This deals 4+ damage. Discard this card. The green Tail Spinner. Attack, deal 2 damage. Deal 1 damage. Plus 2 damage for each villain in the grid. And then finally, the Wolf Cruiser. Attack, deal 3 damage. If negated, target player gains 1 stun. Yeah, so definitely some interesting cards. Of course, I'll just watch their cards work with them. And then we have the 2 Zords. So we have the High Octane Megazord, which is the red, yellow, and blue. So the main 3. When all attack Zords then attack. Deal 3 damage. If negated, that foe discards 1 attack card. And then we can upgrade it to the other side, which has all 5. So it combines together to just shark and a can kind of just basically become a gun. To the Zenith Megazord, ready all attack Zords, and then gain 3 RPM, then attack, deal 5 damage. Yeah, so interesting. So that is the RPM set. Adds some interesting new mechanics. The RPM, the attachment. Yeah, the RPM's kind of neat. It would have been maybe a little bit more interesting if they would have found a way to call it something different. Like charge up or something. Because then they could have potentially used the same mechanic in other sets. Like, since it's called RPM, it's only going to probably ever be in the RPM set. So unless they, for some reason, later on add extra small expansions to give, like, maybe more of the characters, maybe give, like, alternate versions of some of the characters, or a way to play as the yellow or the gold and silver rangers, or something like that. We're never going to probably see the RPM mechanic again. So I kind of wish they would have called it, like, charge up, or, something like that, like even rev up, because there's enough other vehicles, because I could have used it again in, like, turbo, and, I'm sure there's at least one other one that uses vehicles that I can't think of right now. But yeah, then they could possibly use that mechanic again in other sets. But, who knows what they'll do. That's just my thought. Alright, so we're going to look at this bonus pack 2. This is going to be a fairly quick one. Because the bonus packs, unlike the first set, which were brand new characters, these are just foil versions of the cards. So I will try and show them off as best as I can. I mean, partly we're going to have an issue because I have them sleeved. My sleeves are going to be very reflective. But it's an overall one, but they're kind of, if you can aim them just right, you can kind of see how the character does stand out. They're definitely neat. if I had my choice, I would rather have a new character. Even if it was something like what the Transformers deck building or the G.I. Joe ones do, where they give you like 5 cards, and it's like one new character or like two new playable characters, like one new playable character, like big card, and then like a couple other things. That's even like the base game did, where we got like the or the White Ranger, and then like 2 other, like a sight and like a maneuver card. Like, I would much rather have that. Like, here they could have even had like one of these that again was like the Gold and Silver Ranger. Would have been like the promo. The up and down side of either way of this is, if you if you follow along with the Renegade game stuff, whether it's this, Transformers, G.I. Joe, any other games usually like this, ongoing stuff, you pre-order them, you get these packs for free. So I didn't have to pay any extra for this. But then what's also nice, because they do make them available in the store. So if you didn't pre-order this and you're seeing this later and you really would love these spoiled character cards, you can go pick them up. I want to say they're like $5 a pack. I could be wrong though. But if you're just gonna order them by themselves and not order them with anything else, you're probably gonna end up paying like shipping on a $5 pack of cards. So you might want to order some other games with it. But yeah, if you don't pick them up because you don't really care for foils, because it's not new content, or you just don't want to purchase it by itself, at least you're not missing out on anything. So it's the up and down. They're really cool for collector reasons. I mean, what else is also nice though is that they're all readable. Like, I've seen other foil cards where they have foil over this and you can't read that. So at least that's kind of neat. So I could definitely see tossing these out as extra premium cards because they're foil. Kind of a little fun little bonus to play. They don't wreck the gameplay or make it harder to read the cards. But again, not necessary to play the game. Alright, so that's what I got for the Power Rangers deck building game, RPM, Get Into Gear. Check out the other deck building games by Power Rangers, or check out the Transformers G.I. Joe ones if you want to see something a little bit different. And I will be in the future here doing a set that goes over all the different Power Ranger expansions and such, and just kind of comparing the differences between some of them. I might wait until Space comes out. I might not. Alright, see you guys later. Bye.